Well, hi, and thanks for stopping by the Pellets and Pistons Airgun channel. We got a gorgeous day here in New England. It's afternoon. It's first week of September. The temperatures are dropping a little bit. It's in the high 70s, mid 70s, I'd say. We've got a little bit of an intermittent breeze, but when it blows pretty hard. So we're going to do some shooting today. We may have to stop and wait periodically for the wind to die down. Well, what are we shooting? We're shooting this beautiful Airsporter Stutzen model RB2. Now, if you tuned in to the last video, we featured the BSA Airsporter Stutzen model Mark 1. This is a newer version. This has the rotary breech system. I believe that's why it's designated the RB2. And the rotary breech system is kind of unique. I've showed it to you in another video, but I'm going to show it to you again. So hang on one sec while I get up near the camera. Okay, so there's your breech. As you can see, there's a little lever right here, and when the tension is removed from the breech by cocking the rifle, then the breech can be moved to the left, which exposes a little trough where the pellet goes in. Now I'll show you what I'm talking about. In order, again, to move the breech, you have to cock the rifle. Otherwise, all the tension of the piston is pushing forward against that breech, and it doesn't want to move. It's not good for the rifle to move it while it's not cocked. So we're going to go ahead and cock the rifle. Now this is what they call a mid-lever rifle, meaning the lever attaches about at the midpoint instead of a little further up, and you don't get much leverage because of that. So it's a little bit difficult to cock. So it may go out of frame while I cock it, just because it's going to take some effort. Okay. Alright, so now once the gun is cocked, you simply rotate the breech open, and if you look down inside there, you can actually see a little groove. And what that groove does is it goes down on a little, like a circular little slide, and it allows the pellet to slide right down into, the scope's kind of in the way, but if you can see, right about there, there's a little hole, which is the rear of the barrel. So the pellet goes into the rear of the barrel, and once it's inserted, then you just bring the breech back, and now you're ready to fire. Pretty cool system. At any rate, that's the rotary breech system. So this gun, I did do a tune-on. If you go back through my videos, you should be able to find, I think it's a two-part series on tuning this rifle. This was a bear. This was one of the worst. And the reason for that, with these BSA rifles, with this scope rail system that they use, I forget what it's called. It has a name that BSA named it, but I can't remember at the time. Forgive me. But at any rate, that scope rail has to come out or off of the rifle before the piston and so forth can come out of the rifle. And so what that means is that you have to figure out how you're going to get that off, and it's actually glued down with a rubberized like thin layer of rubber as a dampener between the scope and the receiver, and it was a bear. What I had to do is invert it while the trigger group was out, so I had access to the inside of this tube. And I had to use like a penetrant oil and just soak it for several days until that glue softened up and the rubber softened up, and then I was able to tap it loose. It kind of cams in. So if you ever take one of these apart, go back and find that RB2 video. It'll be very helpful in how to do that. So at any rate, back to the gun. It's a wonderful rifle. It's been rebuilt by me. It's very quiet now. It's got a nice, smooth, fast action. This gun has a manual safety. You can turn it on or off when the gun is cocked, but you don't have to have it come on automatic, and I really appreciate that in a gun. I don't like an automatic safety as much as a manual safety. I like to consciously put it on and consciously take it off. At any rate, let's get started. We're going to shoot 10 shots downrange, and we're going to see what we can do at 25 yards with this wonderful BSA Airsporter model RB2. So stick around. This ought to be fun. And thanks again for stopping by the Pellets and Pistons Airgun channel. Okay, so we're at the bench with the BSA Airsporter Stutzen model RB2. This is an underlever cocking, concealed underlever, so pretty, makes it just elegant with this full-length stock. Absolutely gorgeous rifle. Rotary breech. These things are kind of funny. I mean, with the rotary breech, it's really easy to put the pellet in backwards. You'll usually see it before it goes into the bore, but you've got to kind of be careful of that. Now, this gun has been shooting good for a little while and then not so good for a little while, so we're going to see how it's doing. I'm really not sure how we're going to do, but I've been getting somewhere around 1 inch at 25 yards if it's doing what it should be doing. All right, shot number 1. Dead center. That's not bad. The trigger on this gun is atrocious. It's got some creep, and then it gets spongy, and then it goes off. So I don't know. I'm not real happy with that. That makes it kind of tough for me to shoot. Still, it's very smooth. I love the way it sounds when it shoots. I love the firing cycle. It's very fast. And since we did that rebuild, if you could have heard that gun, if you go back and look for that video before we started with the tune, what this thing sounded like, it was awful. It honked like a goose. It was insane. All right, but now it sounds so much better. Let's try shot number 2. Shot number 2. You know what I mean? It's not the most consistent rifle. We do have a little breeze today. I'm not shooting my best today, but I'm not shooting all that bad either. I know I could do better with a different rifle. I don't know if I mentioned too much about this scope. I know I did in the last video where we did the Stutzen Mark 1, but this is a CV Life 4 to 14 power, which is 4.5 to 14 power. Adjustable objective, which goes all the way down to 5 yards. It's an ideal air rifle scope. However, do not claim that it's Springer rated, so I have no idea how long this thing's going to hold up. It'll be an interesting test. All right, so let's see. Shot number 3. Yeah, see, it's just not holding them tight. And it does group them pretty well sometimes, so I'm not assuming that it's the pellet. Again, if this scope is not Springer rated, maybe we've got an issue going on with the scope. It certainly was fine on the other gun, although that was a completely different scope. This is a different scope altogether. This will be shot number 4. Well, I was touching. I'm not sure. You guys can probably see better than me. I'm having doubts now that first one was in the red. I can't tell. I'm not sure where it went, if that's the case. I'll be able to see, I'm sure, when I'm editing. But yeah, I don't know where that first shot ended up now. I'm a little bit suspicious that I missed it altogether somehow. Anyway, that was shot number 4. This will be 5. Alright, that was shot 5. So I mean, if you consider that the center dot is probably close to 3/8, might be 1/2 inch, but I think it's somewhere closer to 3/8. So that'll give you an idea how big that group is. This will be shot 5, I believe. Yep, shot 5. This will be shot number 6. Alrighty. Well, I was hoping to get some kind of better accuracy out of this thing, but if that's what it's going to do, that's what you're going to see. Shot number 6. Shot number 6 looks like it's touching the black. Again, the trigger doesn't lend itself to accurate shooting either, so that could have something to do with it. But my shots, most of these have felt pretty good. I haven't really felt like I pulled any of them. So I'm going to blame the scope of the rifle. This is shot 7. Now all of a sudden they're tightening up. So I mentioned this before in other videos recently, especially because this has been something that's been coming increasingly more obvious to me. And I think that what happens with these springers or piston gun is that the piston seal itself begins to warm up and get more pliable, and it begins to seal better and causes a little better consistency, and then you get tighter groups. But it's just a theory, I'm not sure. Alright, slowing up, let's give this a shot. Shot number 9. Yeah, it seems to be tightening up. That trigger, tough. I might have pulled that one off just the tiniest bit. Alright, so that pellet wants to go in backwards. There we go. Alright, last and final shot. Shot number 10. Shot number 10. Alright, well, that's what you get out of the RB2. Like it or not, that's all I was able to get out of it today. I should mess around with a different scope maybe and try some new pellets and see if it'll do a little better. Like I said, with these exact heavies, it was doing quite well, so I'm not sure what happened. Something happened between the time that I was zeroing the rifle and the time that I got the video going. But at any rate, I'd say it did okay for itself, considering the type of loading system that we've got here. I'd say it did just fine. So with that in mind, we're going to celebrate this absolutely gorgeous rifle, and we're going to reach out there at 60 yards and ring that bell a couple of times. So hang on one sec while I readjust the camera so you can see what happens when we hit that bell, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'd say this thing's worth a few celebratory rings on the bell. What do you guys think? This absolutely stunning rifle from BSA back in their heyday when they built just a wonderful quality air rifle, and a real attention to detail. Just everything about these guns is so nice. I'm sure I can get some more accuracy out of it if we mess around and figure out whether it's a scope or what it is. But for now, at least we got some idea what it's going to do. I'm going to reach out there at 60 yards. I'm going to try to ring that bell. If you notice, it's a different color than it used to be. Shot number 1. Oh yeah, baby. I hit with a little authority. It actually turned the bell a little bit. Wow, what a nice rifle. I'm glad you guys stopped by today and checked out this Airsporter Stutzen RB2 air rifle. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I enjoyed making it for you guys. Shot 2. Gotta love it. Just a nice gun. I've always wanted an Airsporter Stutzen ever since I was a very young man. And I saw them in the catalog and I was like, oh my goodness, I gotta get me one of those. Well, it took me about 40 some odd years, but I managed to do it. Alright, last shot. Shot number 3, ring the bell. There you go, folks. That is the BSA Airsporter model RB2 air rifle with a cheap CV Life scope on there that so far is impressing me. I have one on my other Airsporter and it's shooting pretty good, so we'll see how long they hold up. It might be something I can recommend to you guys. A scope that's actually airgun worthy and has some nice features, has some pretty decent glass, a really nice reticle for airgun shooting, adjustable objective all the way down to 5 yards. Impressive little scope. I hope as we go I can put this thing through the ringer and be able to recommend it, because what a nice scope it would be for any Springer if it can hold up to it. Obviously it's perfect for a PCP. It's just absolutely ideal. I would highly recommend this scope if you shoot PCPs. Anyway, I want to thank you folks for stopping by the Pellets and Pistons Airgun channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that. Hit the bell to be reminded of future videos, and by all means, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this one. Thanks again, folks. Have a great day.